past couple of weeks, I have heard from an unprecedented number of resellers that they are ready to quit. And it's no wonder, given weeks like the one that I'm going to talk about today in today's What Sold video, that a lot of resellers are ready to hang up their hats. It is rough out there. There's a lot going on, and it seems like there's too much working against resellers. So let's talk about those things and what sold for me in the week of October 17th through the 23rd.
Won't nobody love you the way they should. Won't nobody check up on you, make sure you're good. Won't nobody check those body tremors for your neck.
Hi everyone, my name is Becky Park. I'm a part-time reseller on a variety of reselling platforms, and I have been reselling for close to 5 years. I'm approaching my 5-year anniversary, and one thing I will state, especially for those of you who are newer resellers out there, is that traditionally for resellers like myself who sell clothing, accessories, shoes, Q4 is just a rough quarter. And that's because the resellers who are killing it out there, they are the ones selling things like hard goods, they're selling collectibles, they're selling things that people are purchasing as gifts, but a lot of people are not necessarily dropping a lot of money on clothes in Q4, especially when they know that they're going to be making a lot of purchases for other people. They tend to put a pause on personal spending for themselves. And so I have learned as I prepare for each Q4 that it's not going to be as amazing as some of my reselling peers make it out to be, but that's because they're selling a very different product than I am. So to some degree, I was already kind of prepared for it, but also I understand the perspective that many resellers are sharing, which is they feel like a lot of these reselling platforms are working against them and against their ability to make sales, even, perhaps the slightly lower sales of Q4 that they're used to seeing, but they're seeing even lower sales than that. Specifically, I'm speaking about Poshmark and about their Poshmark live shows. I've heard from both sellers and buyers on the app that the constant notifications that come from the Poshmark live shows are a deterrent, and a lot of people are turning away from both selling and buying on the platform. People have told me that they're straight up done with Poshmark, and it's not just the constant notifications, but it's also the culture that comes with doing these live auction shows. People are used to getting a deal. They're used to getting an item in a live show for much cheaper than they would had they purchased that item the traditional route, which is either purchasing it outright or making an offer and kind of going back and forth with the seller. But in an auction, especially if there's not very many people in that live show, if you're the only one to bid on the item and it had a low bid to begin with, you're getting things for a steal, and people are getting used to that mentality. And so the hypothesis is that as a result, buyers are being conditioned to expect super low prices on items that really should garner a higher selling price. I'll be honest with you, I was looking at my numbers for the year 2022 thus far, and I was shocked to see that eBay was beating out Poshmark in terms of net profit. Shocked. I would not have believed it, except for the fact that I saw it with my own eyes. I guess I need to change the name of my YouTube channel to Becky Park on eBay. It doesn't have quite the same ring to it, but I mean, that's what it's about to come to, because I get it. Poshmark is making it really hard for people to make sales. And then there are some who, are almost untouchable, and they're just going to continue to have great sales, and they seem to be immune to everything else that's going on in the economy. I'm here to tell you that I am not one of those people. I am feeling it, and you're going to see that in this week of sales that we're going to talk about today. In fact, there were 2 back-to-back days this week of 0 sales. That's tough. I mean, that's pretty sad and pretty worrying. The good news is that next week's What Sold video is actually going to consist of some pretty great numbers. So, it's good that it's not just consistently going to be super dead, but I do understand those of you who are sharing that reselling is only getting harder and harder. I feel for you. I understand 100% where you're coming from, but personally, I would say don't lose hope. Even if it seems like the pendulum is swinging really hard this way, it has a tendency of coming back at least closer to center than where it currently is. And so I do have confidence that things will get better. Maybe we just have to get out of Q4 to see that improvement. But on that note, let's go ahead and talk about my week of sales. Like I said, it's rough out there, but I did sell a few things. So we're going to start by talking about Monday, which was October 17th. On Poshmark, I sold this pair of Banana Republic gray wool blend dress pants in a size 34. These sold for $20. I had $2 in into them because a friend of mine gave them to me before he moved up north, and he gave them to me not expecting me to pay him for anything, but I just went ahead and gave him a bunch of money for all the stuff that he gave me, and so it came out to about $2 per item. My profit on those pants was $14. These kinds of like basic career wear pieces from mall brands like Banana Republic are not my favorite thing to sell because I do feel like they're very heavily saturated on reselling markets. They will sell, however, and these, to be honest, were not listed for that long. They were listed for, I want to say, a couple months, and that's not bad for something like this, especially considering that this was Banana Republic factory. The next thing to sell was over on eBay. This was also from that same friend, and this was a great sale. It was this Perry Ellis dark gray two-piece suit. The jacket was a size 40S, the pants were a waist size 30, and this suit sold for $99.99. And I had $2 into it because my friend really gave it to me for free, but I gave him some money. So my profit on that suit was $81. I hate selling suits. I hate them in that I feel like they're a lot of work because you have to take a lot of pictures, you have to include a lot of measurements, and there's two pieces. And so I usually end up making a collage, like you can see it right here in my listing. It just takes more time than a regular listing, but my God, it can pay off. And I do think that there were a couple jackets and maybe some suit pants that he gave me that didn't match up, or even like a couple suits that I did just go ahead and donate because the quality just wasn't there and I felt like I was going to have to sit on those things forever. Now I'm wondering if I should have just listed them anyway, but yeah, suits can do well. Typically I have to sit on them for a while, but again, this suit sold for, I want to say, under 2 months. That's pretty good. The next thing to sell on eBay was this pair of Under Armour Torch Superman basketball shoes in a youth size 4.5. They were a high top sneaker, and I held on to these forever. I think I've had these for 3 years. I got them at a consignment store in the height of COVID. They let me shop in their storage unit by myself, and I was just shoving shoes and clothes into these big black garbage bags, and they were charging me like $50 a bag or something like that. So my average cost of goods per item came out to $1.80. At least that's how much my cost of goods was for shoes. And so even though, my cost of goods was super low, it was not worth me holding on to these for 3 years only to finally sell them for $15. They were promoted at 3%, and I made a profit of $10.71. I mean, those shoes were probably relisted tens of times, and it just wasn't really worth the effort to come out with a $10.71 profit after 3 years. No thank you. The next thing to sell, okay. So I had probably the worst return experience of my life, and mainly because it ate up so much of my life. It took up so much of my time. So I sold this Max Mara dress. I got this dress at a consignment store, and it was missing its material tag. However, I found a comp of the same dress, and in that comp, they showed the material tag, and it showed that this was made of a silk blend. It was kind of like a jersey knit, but there was, some silk in it. It wasn't one of those like super lightweight, feathery, super thin silk dresses. It had some weight to it. It was a jersey knit, but, silk blend. So it sold to somebody in Canada. So it went through the global shipping program. And I let it go for a lot less than I wanted to. I let it go for, I believe, $80. And I had it listed for, I don't know, at least $125 or something like that. I let it go for $80 because she was like, the shipping costs are so high, blah, blah, blah. And I know that they were. She wasn't lying to me because of the global shipping program. So I let it go for $80. She gets the dress, she reaches out and she says, this is not silk. I have a ton of silk dresses and this isn't silk, so I'd like to return it. So I responded and said, this is made of a silk blend, but if you were expecting like a super lightweight, super thin, 100% silk dress, yeah, this is not that. And I, at the time, in my early correspondence with her, forgot that she was in Canada. I forgot that this was a global shipping program transaction. And so I said, if you want to return it, you can return it. Because I do accept returns. I don't want people to be stuck with things that they're not going to wear. So she started a return, and that's when I realized, crap, this is a global shipping program sale, which I was told when something sells via global shipping program, you are protected in that buyers cannot return items. That is a lie. All they have to do is use the dreaded item not as described card and they can open a return. And that's exactly what she did. She started a return saying that the item was not as described. And again, I was like, this is super irritating, but whatever, like it's fine. I'll just deal with the return until it got out of hand. First, because the return was started as an item not as described case, I was responsible for paying for the shipping. Now, if you know anything about the global shipping program, the way that it works is that the seller pays to get the item shipped to Kentucky because there is an eBay warehouse there where they deal with all of the international sales through the global shipping program. They will do all of the customs, all that kind of stuff, and then they'll send it out to wherever it's going internationally. So it's really nice for the seller because they only have to pay to get it to Kentucky, and Kentucky is not far from me, so it especially works out. But it is a little bit worse for the buyer because they have to pay for a ton. They're paying, not just for it to get to Kentucky, but also to get to them internationally. They're paying a lot in fees. So I get it. It's kind of a nightmare for them. So initially she was like, well, you have to pay for a label to get it from Canada to you. And I said, well, hold up. Because you only paid me $8.30 for shipping on this item. And for me to pay to get it from Canada back to me is going to be well over $20, $25, maybe even $30. And I said, that wasn't part of our deal. And she said, well, you have to do it because that's what eBay says. And I think I just didn't respond for a little bit. And then she came back with, well, maybe I can help you pay for it. And that's when I was like, okay, if you're going to help me pay for it, fine. I will send you a label from your home to my home. What is your address? That's when she said, and then also I just want to make sure that I'm going to get my full refund of $130 or something like that, because she was throwing in there the amount that she had to pay for fees. To which I responded, listen, lady, you only paid me $80 for this dress. I'm already going to be paying extra in terms of shipping. There's no way that I'm paying for these fees that you had to pay on your end because I never saw a penny from those fees. And it was at this point that I said, you may as well just contact eBay because I don't think we're going to be able to figure this out amongst ourselves. Clearly, neither of us really knows what's going on. Let's just get eBay involved. So she got eBay involved. eBay reached out to me, and this is where things got even more frustrating, is because sometimes eBay customer service sucks. So they sent me an email saying, this is what needs to happen. You need to send her a shipping label. It needs to be from her home to your home. Here are the different ways that you can do it. So I responded to that email and I said, fine, I can get a shipping label from her home to my home. However, I just need clarification on what happens in regards to fees. I only received $88.30 from this woman. $80 was for the cost of the dress. $8.30 was for the cost of shipping the dress from my home to the eBay warehouse in Kentucky. I'm not responsible for paying this $130 amount that she quoted to me, correct? Because none of those fees ever made their way into my bank account. To which eBay responded and said, I can understand how frustrating it is when a buyer says that the item you sent them is not the same size as what was listed in the description. And then went on to type paragraphs upon paragraphs of other things without answering a single one of my questions. So I responded again and I said, this was the most unhelpful email because I can tell you did not actually read the questions that I sent you in the first place. Because not only did you not answer the questions, but you also described a scenario that did not happen. The buyer did not open a return because there was an issue with the size of the garment. It was because she was claiming there was no silk in the garment. And that's a completely different thing. And clearly the eBay representative did not read my email carefully. And the icing on the cake is that she stated in the email somewhere, I have fully reviewed this case and am up to date in regards to everything surrounding it. And then she proceeded to say things that never happened. So I, called her on it. I got a response from a different eBay representative saying, okay, I have for real looked at the details of this case. Here are the answers to your questions. It turns out that I did not have to pay for the fees that the buyer had to pay for initially. I just had to pay for the shipping. So after all of that, I paid for the shipping label. It was about $27 or something like that. She finally got it back to me. It is just sitting at the base of my stairs because I'm so irritated with that item. And that, my friends, was the worst return experience that I've ever had because it literally ate up hours of my life crafting these emails to the buyer and to eBay and all of the things. It was just so frustrating all around, but especially learning that people who purchase items through the global shipping program can and will return items. So just wanted to burst that bubble for you. I'm so sorry, but now that I've lived through it, I'm just letting you know that it's real and it sucks real bad. So that was a lot of time spent on a transaction that I lost money on, but I just wanted to share that with you because it's an honest part of my reselling journey and something that I think everyone should be aware of. So the final sale from Monday, October 17th, was this pair of can high-rise, mid-rise skinny jeans in a size 27. These sold for $22. They were promoted at 3%. I got them for $5.10 at a local consignment store when they were running a sale, and so I made a profit of $12.10. I feel like Can was having a moment, and that moment is kind of gone. Like, I don't know. I'm not able to really move Can jeans for that much anymore, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future. Moving on to Tuesday, which was October 18th, I had one sale, and that was over on Mercari. It was this torrid floral leopard high-rise knot front swimsuit bottom in a size 2X. That sold for $20. I actually got that at a Goodwill outlet in Seattle. So my average cost of goods was about $2. I got a lot of shoes that day, so my average cost of goods was a bit higher than it would have been had I just stuck to clothing. But the majority of what I got on that trip was shoes, and I will actually link that haul right here. So I made a profit on those swimsuit bottoms of $15.12, which I thought was pretty good, and it was pretty nice to sell that in October. I was scared that I was going to have to hold on to that item into the spring and summer, but I got rid of it, super happy to sell it, and I thought it was a really fun piece. Moving on to Wednesday, which was October 19th, I had a Depop sale. And not only did I have a Depop sale, in the coming weeks, I have had many Depop sales. So, you know, I'm like a for real Depop seller now, guys. But on Depop, I sold this pair of Rag & Bone black Nina high-rise ankle skinny jeans in a size 29. These sold for $55. That is with free shipping. And so once you factor in my cost of goods, which was $12, and the cost of my shipping and Depop's fees, my net profit comes out to $17.20. I picked up those jeans at Plato's Closet, and to be honest with you, I don't pick up most Rag & Bone anymore just because it's typically marked up really high. And I feel like in my local area, when I come across Rag & Bone, it's only like the super old styles, but this was actually a little bit newer of a style, and the comps were still pretty good for it. So when I saw it at Plato's Closet for $12, I was like, yeah, I'll try it out, and I thought I made some pretty good money on it, especially considering that I did pay for shipping too. And then I had a Facebook Marketplace sale. It was this Polo Ralph Lauren blue full zip sweater with like the big Polo logo on the chest in a size large for men. This sold for $50 on Facebook Marketplace, and I only had $2 into it because I got it from that same friend who moved not too long ago, and so I made a net profit of $44.83. I received multiple lowball offers on this same sweater, but I held my ground, and then randomly out of nowhere, it just sold for my full price on Facebook Marketplace. And one of the places that I was getting lowball offers was on Facebook Marketplace. People were like, why are you selling this for so much? This is a used item, blah, blah, blah. And I just chose not to respond to them because I don't need to waste my time doing that, knowing that they're not going to cave. And even if they do, they're probably going to leave poor feedback. So I just left it alone, and it sold by itself for my full asking price. I gotta admit, that feels really good. The next sale was a direct sale, and it was the result of a haul that I did from my favorite pop-up consignment store, and I will link that haul video right here. Sometimes you guys watch those videos and you see something that you want right away, and if you know me, you know that it's going to be months before I get that item listed, so rather than wait around for it to get listed, you just take matters into your own hands. That's exactly what you should do. So Crystal saw this pair of Judy Blue camo distressed straight leg high-rise jeans in a size 14W, and she reached out via Instagram, said, hey, I'd love to buy those off of you. And I was like, sure. So we settled on $40 shipped. I had $9.23 into those jeans. So once you factor in the amount that I had to pay for shipping and my cost of goods, I still made a profit of $22.47, which I thought was really, really great. Judy Blue is still a brand that's doing pretty well for me. Earlier I talked about how Can, the value has kind of gone down in my opinion. Judy Blue is still a solid pickup through and through. And then October 20th and 21st, nothing. nothing sold for 2 days. And I think I probably started freaking out some. And then I did have some sales over the weekend. Not great ones though. So this was a rough week. So Saturday, which was October 22nd, I did have a few Poshmark sales. The first one was this Hot Gal. That's literally the brand name. Hot Gal scoop neck pullover sweatshirt. It had like patches all over it with like, like a tongue sticking out and like the word hot, or I don't know, just it was very clearly a junior's piece. And so this was in a size large. It sold for $15. I got it as part of a local reseller buyout. Someone who lives near me decided to get out of the reselling game. So I bought all of her inventory off of her. Each item came out to about $1.02. I really got everything for a steal. And so I made a profit of $10.98 on that. Probably something that I didn't need to list, but it sold. And then because I didn't do a good job of deleting, it from my other platforms after it sold on Poshmark, it sold again, believe it or not, on eBay, like weeks later, and I had to cancel the transaction and let her know, I'm so sorry, I just forgot to delete this. My bad. I've been really bad about, not deleting items in a timely manner. I actually talk about that in this video right here, where I talk about the top 5 ways that I suck as a reseller, and that was one of them. But it really does a number, not just, on your account and being in good standing on the various reselling platforms that you sell on, but also like on your time, like me sitting there trying to figure out, did I sell this somewhere? And if so, when? And sometimes I will literally look through all of my bins only to realize, shoot, this item already sold on a different platform. So, for that reason and for many others, I need to do a better job of deleting items once they sell on my various platforms. The next thing to sell on Poshmark was this White House Black Market full zip knit sweater in a size extra small. It did have pockets, but it also had a flaw in that the zipper was missing the zipper pull. So it had the little nub that moves up and down, I don't know what that's called, the tracks, is that what it's called? But you had to just kind of like awkwardly like pinch it and move it up and down, or just push it up and down. So I was like, this thing is never going to sell. I listed it, I want to say for $25, maybe $20, and it sold literally within 48 hours. I was kind of shocked. So it sold for $20 on Poshmark. I had $3.92 into it because it was something that came to me in a wholesale pallet that I purchased off of a reseller. And so I made a profit on that sweater that had a pretty significant flaw, in my opinion. I made a profit of $12.08. The next thing to sell was this Banana Republic Factory split sleeve structured sheath dress in a size 2. This is my second Banana Republic Factory piece of the day. This sold for $17, and I'm saying that my profit on this was $6.80 because this is something that a friend of mine from church gave me, and we just kind of agreed half of the amount that I make in profits I will give to them. And they gave me some really nice pieces. I mean, this Banana Republic Factory piece is probably way at the bottom of, the totem pole as far as brands and styles that they were giving me. But she gave me like Marc Jacobs bags, shoes by the brand Ash, like just a lot of really great stuff. So, some of these things I'm going to make pennies on, but some of those other items I did do really well on. The next thing to sell was over on eBay, and it was this pair of Skechers blue eyelet air-cooled memory foam slip-on shoes in a size 9.5. These sold for $24.99. They were promoted at 3%. And the only reason I picked them up is because they were on like super clearance at a local consignment store. They were having a dollar tag sale over the summer, and these were on the rack. Skechers for $1. I was like, absolutely. And I made a profit of $19.64. The last day of sales that we'll talk about is Sunday, October 23rd. On Poshmark, I sold this Vici blue Tichy. Maybe that's how you say it. Maybe it's supposed to rhyme with Vici. I don't know. That's the style name. Tichy? Taichi? It was this floral belted V-neck romper in a size small. I picked that up for $2.52 at a local consignment store when I shopped their birthday sale. That was my average cost of goods per item. It sold for $27 on Poshmark, and that was with discounted shipping because of Posher VA. Posher VA is a Chrome extension that I use to share my closet, to send out offers, all that good stuff so that I don't have to sit there and do it. And so I made a profit of $17.36 on that. I know people have mixed thoughts on Vici. I've only sold it twice. This was only my second time selling it. And both times I've been pretty pleased. The brand doesn't necessarily sell quickly, but it sells for a decent amount. The next thing to sell was on eBay. It was this pair of Jag gray pull-on corduroy straight leg pants in a size 14. These sold for their second time and it finally stuck. I got like good feedback on the sale and everything. I think they sold on eBay the first time too, and they just didn't fit right. So that's why the person had opened up a return. This time, I guess it was exactly what she was looking for. They sold for $21.24. That was with the 15% off sale that I had going on. I had $3.92 into it because it was part of that reseller wholesale pallet that I had purchased. And so I made a profit on those pants of $13.15. I would never, ever, ever in my life have picked these up had I found them at Goodwill, had I found them at the bins. I would not have picked these up. But they sold twice even, and I made some money off of them. And then the last sale that we'll talk about is actually one more direct sale. I purchased 2 pairs of pants at that pop-up consignment store that were identical except for the fact that they were different colors. And I actually made a reel on Instagram of me trying on all these very kind of like log and look type pants. And Holly reached out and said, I would love to buy one of those 2 pants off of you, whichever one you don't want. So I decided to keep the green pair. I sold her the yellow pair. They were these new with tags, Ollie and Hallie. That was the brand name. I've never heard of it, but oh my gosh, these pants are so comfortable. They're so lightweight. I love them. So hers were yellow. They were pull-on, just kind of gauzy pants in a size small. Those I sold to her for $30 shipped. I had $9.23 into them from that pop-up consignment sale, and so I made a profit on those of $13.26. I do love selling things to viewers and passing on really good savings since we can get around, any platform fees and things of that nature. If you have ever shopped from me in the past, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I definitely don't make these videos and make this content with the secret hope that you will, in turn visit my eBay store or Poshmark closet. Like I promise you I don't. But when people do show their support for me and my content in that way, it is just like the icing on the cake. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's so unnecessary, but very kind of you. So let's talk about my numbers for this sad week of reselling. On Poshmark, I sold 5 things. That's rough. I mean, that is really rough. Does it have something to do with the live sales? It could. Does it have something to do with the fact that people just are not spending money on themselves right now and they're trying to save for gifts and stuff? It could. I don't know what's happening, but I do know that Poshmark sales are not in the same place for me this year that they were last year. That's a given. That's a fact. And it could be for a number of reasons, but it does hurt. I get it. I get why people are leaving the platform, why people are giving up on reselling. It was a rough week. I made a gross sales amount of $99 on Poshmark. Once you factor in Poshmark's fees and shipping discounts, that total drops to $77.48. My cost of goods for those 5 items was $16.26, and so my net profit was $61.22. On eBay, I also sold only 5 items. My gross sales amount was $183.22. Once you factor in eBay's fees and any shipping discrepancies, that total drops to $150.42. My cost of goods for those 5 items was $13.82, and so my net profit was $136.60 on eBay, which is more than double my net profit on Poshmark. On Mercari, I had 1 sale for a gross sales amount of $20. Once you factor in Mercari's fees, that total drops to $17.12. I had $2 into that item, and so my net profit was $15.12. On Depop, I sold 1 item as well for a gross sales amount of $55. Once you factor in the fact that I paid for shipping and for Depop's fees, that total drops to $29.20. I had $12 into those jeans, and so I made a net profit of $17.20 on Depop. On Facebook Marketplace, I had 1 sale for $50. Once you factor in Facebook Marketplace's fees, that total drops to $46.83. My cost of goods for that 1 item was $2, and so my net profit was $44.83. I had 2 direct sales as a result of a haul video that I had posted on YouTube, and my gross sales amount for those 2 items was $70. Once you factor in shipping and maybe like PayPal fees, that total drops to $54.10. I had $18.46 into those 2 items, and so my net profit from direct sales was $35.64. In total, I sold 15 items this week. Sometimes I sell 15 items on one platform, and that's not like irregular for me. I oftentimes will sell 15 items or more on just Poshmark, but it was a rough week of reselling. So my gross sales amount for the week was $477.22. My profit when you factor in shipping and fees dropped to $375.15. My cost of goods for those 15 items was $64.54, and so my net profit was $310.61. It was a rough week of reselling, but I'm not going to give up on reselling, and here is why. 1, I am addicted, but 2, I firmly believe reselling makes the world a better place. I think it helps things find a new home that would otherwise go to the landfill. And 3, even if I'm making less in reselling than I did this time last year, it's still more money coming into my home than if I were not reselling at all. It's still a pretty great side hustle, and I'm still extremely thankful for every dollar that makes its way into my bank account with this crazy hobby, side hustle, passion of mine. It's insane. Essentially what we do is we buy other people's discarded junk and we list it online and people pay us money for it. It's insane that that's what we get to do. But I love it. I'm not personally giving it up anytime soon. I do hope that you stick with it as well and kind of weather through the storm. But also, I completely understand if you say, enough is enough. I have to be done with this for the sake of my own well-being and sanity. You know what's best for you. You know what you need to do. And if you come to that conclusion, I hope you find something else that satisfies you and fulfills you and makes you happy. So that's my video for the week. It was a rough week of reselling, but if you can empathize, definitely hit that like button. Let me know that I'm not alone. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, first of all, thank you. I hope that any upcoming content is a little bit happier and more upbeat, but I do hope you consider subscribing so you can be a part of this little community. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!